We recognized a very fundamental proposition that the eyes of the world would be focused on the site on that day in a tremendously intense way. We simply had no choice but to deliver a memorial that inspires and that this entire country could be proud of. We also realized that as important as the 10th anniversary is, it simply wasn't enough to hold the ceremony and then close the next day. The public's will to visit this memorial and pay their respects has been evident for years and in some ways only seems to be increasing. After much deliberation, we committed to opening to the public on 9/12/2011, that's the next day, and staying open with continuous operations. So on that day, following the anniversary, Monday, September 12th, will also be an historic day. And the efforts to prepare and to welcome the public are actually no less challenging than those of the physical construction. For the first few years that the memorial is open, visitors will have an incredibly unique opportunity to witness the rebuilding of the rest of the site around them. An historic view that includes the towers rising, which includes the tallest building in the United States being constructed, other commercial buildings, as well as the WTC transportation hub taking shape. Because the memorial will be the first project to open on the original 16 acres, it will be surrounded on all four sides by construction, and we are creating an entry and exit path to bring visitors onto the site safely. And during this interim period of continued construction, we will manage the capacity on the plaza, and visitors will require a timed pass, available free through a reservation system on our website, 911memorial.org. This will help avoid long queues and ensure as many people from around the world as possible who want to visit the memorial can do so in a safe and meaningful way. Visitors will also be able to better plan how they want to spend their day. For so many visitors to New York, time is limited, and we understand that they would like to pack their day with sightseeing, shopping, dining, and other events and attractions. The reservation system that the memorial is using will help visitors plan their itineraries so that they can make the most of what Lower Manhattan and the rest of New York City has to offer. Our reservation system, which we expect to launch in early July, will also give special accommodation to visiting victims' families. Passes can be printed at home or by group planners. Passes will also be available for pickup at our 9/11 Memorial Preview site, located next to the World Trade Center, and the passes that visitors receive will direct them to an entry point just south of the site, and from there visitors will proceed to the Memorial Plaza. We are working with some incredibly important strategic transportation partners, some of whom are represented here today, Twin America, New York Water Taxi, and Statue Cruises that are helping facilitate the implementation of this timed reservation system. In addition to being able to plan their visit through our online reservation system, visitors can actually begin their experience by exploring our website that learns and teaches about the 2,982 names of the individuals that surround the perimeters of the twin pools. Like the individual lives they represent, the names on this memorial are connected to each other, and this arrangement is unique to any other memorial that's ever been built in the world. They are arranged, the names, by layers of meaning, reflecting where people were and who they were with on 9/11. We conducted outreach to the thousands and thousands of next of kin of the victims, asking for guidance on the particular names which they wanted to see their loved ones' names inscribed. Over 1,200 of these requests, what we call adjacency requests, were made, and they guided the entire arrangement in tribute to the relationships shared in life, as you'll see in just a moment. A new section of our website, names.911memorial.org, replicates the entire names arrangement and allows people to understand the meaning that underlies it. It's an application that will also be available at the memorial and through handheld devices. Like many aspects of the memorial itself, our objective was to take something complex, in this case, the layers of meaning infused in the names arrangement, and portray it as simply as possible. This is the landing page of the site that shows the memorial. Most broadly, the names are organized into 9 groups. 1 for the victims of the February 26, 93 bombing, 2 for the Twin Towers, 4 for the hijacked flights, 1 for the Pentagon, and 1 for the first responders. Within these groupings, the names of victims from each company or agency, or, for example, the passengers aboard a flight appear together. Here, by searching for Cantor Fitzgerald, you'll be able to see the names of the 658 Cantor employees, every single person in the company's offices that morning, and where they are inscribed around the North Memorial Pool. The CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald is on our board. In addition to losing all his employees on that day, he lost his best friend and his brother Gary, and has given back by his service on our board. The most personal and meaningful aspect of the names arrangement is its ability to reflect the relationship that existed between victims. Some of the most heartbreaking stories are those of entire families that were aboard the hijacked flights. Daniel Brandhorst and Ronald Gamboa were traveling home from vacation with their 3-year-old son, David. As with all families on the memorial, Daniel and Ronald's names appear alongside one another, above their sons, something that would not have been possible in this case through an alphabetical arrangement. Also aboard Flight 175 was the Hansen family. Christine Lee Hansen, at 2.5 years old, was the youngest 9/11 victim. She was with her parents, Peter and Sue, whose names appear above hers. Finally, some adjacencies connect names on the memorial with people today. On the North Pool, the World Trade Center section begins with the 293 names of the employees of Marsh & McLennan, immediately following the names of those aboard Flight 11. Among the passengers that day was Richard Barry Ross. It's absolutely heartbreaking that his oldest daughter, Abigail, lost not only her dad that day, but also her best friend, Stacy Lee Sanders, who was at her new job at Marsh on the 96th floor of the North Tower when Flight 11, her dad's plane, crashed into it. When Abby comes to the memorial on the 10th anniversary in 110 days, I hope she will take some comfort in seeing the names of the people she loves so much alongside one another forever. These stories are only a few of thousands. They connect the names to each other, and they connect them to us. I hope you'll take time to explore the website yourselves. And while I know these stories are sometimes hard to hear, to many they're also comforting. They remind us of how much the different kinds of connections in our own lives are what really matter most. Understanding those connections and seeing the names inscribed in bronze, that's the heart of the memorial. I hope standing in front of the bronze parapets before the water falling out of sight under a canopy of beautiful oak trees will provide comfort and inspiration to all our visitors. Now, with 110 days from the opening of the memorial on September 11th, so much of the physical experience is in place. You can see the animation on the top of the screen and the current construction on the lower part. The pools are fully framed in steel, concrete, and polished granite. This is the pavilion building that I showed you earlier, and rest assured that that blue and white coloring is not the actual coloring on the building. That's just protective draping until we open the pavilion on the 10th anniversary. Actually, last week we had an important milestone. We tested the waterfall in the South Pool, and I'm pleased to report there was no leaks, which is a good thing. And as of right now, we have 141 of the 416 trees that have been planted. And I don't know if you can see it from your seats, but all the trees look the same. They're all swamp white oaks except for one tree. And it's the tree that looks a little taller, a little darker, a little bushier than all the other trees. That tree is called the Survivor Tree, and it was a tree that was rescued from the plaza on 9/11, about 95% destroyed. It was a couple of guys from the New York City Parks Department took that tree up to the Bronx, nursed it back to health. It was actually struck by lightning 2 years ago and continued to survive. We brought that tree back, and it's really taken on this resonance of the story of survival. And we were lucky enough a couple weeks ago when President Obama came to the site after bin Laden was killed. He came to the Memorial Plaza during the construction, and he laid a wreath actually right in front of the Survivor Tree. And clearly there's something special, regardless of how sacred this site is to the United States and to many people. As I said, 92 different nations lost people. When you have someone like the President or the Queen of England or the Pope, all of whom have visited the site, people that hundreds of millions of people from around the world look up to. It adds